As the Uruguayan curls one in. Oh, Middlesbrough take the lead!
The Chuba Akpom saga is finally over, as the Boro star man is imminently about to join the Dutch giants Ajax for around £12 million. A fantastic move for all parties, I feel, both financially, the timing of it, it's what Boro have needed. So let's have a little look at the deal and I'll give my thoughts on it. It confirms that after interest from multiple clubs, finally Chuba Akpom has sealed a move away from Boro. He has gone, or has chosen to go to Ajax, one of my favourite clubs by the way. And the move will see him go for around €12 million initially, with €2 million in add-ons. It works out about £10.4 million. And I dare say with the add-ons we'll end up somewhere around £12 million. It mentions that he was a standout performer for Boro last term, of course, and has signed a 5-year contract with Ajax, which will take him to around his 32nd, 33rd birthday. So it's one last big contract for Chuba, and I think it's one he probably wouldn't have seen coming a year ago, and I'll get onto that in a little bit. Boro did sign Akpom for only £2.75 million back in 2020, which means Boro have made nearly a £10 million net gain from Chuba after really only one good season, which I think is pretty impressive. So of course I did discuss this, my thoughts on the Chuba Akpom saga, in a previous video, so you can check that out if you want. But it was basically around the time that interest was coming from Sheffield United, and I was just discussing the different outcomes for Boro, whether he was sold, whether he signed a new deal, or happened to stay and leave on a free. And for me, this was undoubtedly the best outcome for all parties. I think it was clear from the summer Chuba wasn't going to sign a new deal with the club. The reasons as to why, I don't think we'll ever know. I think people are making a lot of assumptions, blaming Chuba and his representatives for not committing to the club, not accepting the club's demands, and maybe wanting too much money. Others are accusing the club of not giving in to Chuba's demands and giving our star man the money he wants. But I think, personally, this was the right outcome, because Boro aren't the club they once were. They're not the sort of club who are going to just throw ridiculous wages and accept the demands of an agent. They're going to maintain their wage structure. They're not going to break it for any player, and they're not going to give in to the demands. And Chuba, we believe, was already one of the high paid players at the club, so I can't even imagine what his agent might have wanted after, of course, the season he had last season, which was incredible. So Boro have looked at this and thought, we're not going to agree a deal. So the only logical outcome was to get a fee for him before he perhaps leaves on a free in the summer next year, or obviously signs an agreement somewhere else within the last 6 months. So this is the perfect outcome, and I'm relieved it's over. You know, it's dragged on for a number of weeks, and I feel like Boro have fallen behind a little bit compared to other clubs. Coventry are one who have just played. Of course, they sold their star assets early on, or Gyökeres at least, which has allowed them to at least begin reinvesting and get their squad a lot more settled and prepared for the season. I imagine Boro have sort of been waiting on this Chuba sale because, of course, this will give the club additional budget, and I guess will allow them to have more wriggle room to sign maybe more ambitious players, more ambitious targets. And I think a lot of the reason as to why there's been a lot of radio silence for a few weeks now is perhaps because Boro were waiting to get this deal done and out the way, because the noise around our star man is not going to do the club any good, it's not going to do the players any good, it's not going to do Carrick any good. The questions he gets asked, whether he's coming, whether he's gone, does he prepare the club and the squad with Chuba in mind, does he not? Now it's clarity. We can look ahead to the season now with the money we know we've got, and we can ensure it's reinvested, and we can just get on with it now, essentially. So yeah, for me personally, this was the right outcome. And in terms of the fee, obviously there's fans online saying we should have got more, and you know, we've been about our pants down with the fee, and it's a joke of a fee that we've got. But these fans need to remember, Chuba Akpom has only done this for one season. We've only seen this for one season. He joined us in December 2020, and for the most part hadn't done much in his early Boro career, and ended up being loaned out because he just either wasn't good enough, or the managers just didn't seem like he was going to fit into their system. And going back to a year ago, Chris Wilder wasn't willing to give Chuba a chance. He was training with the under-23s. I'm sure another loan would have been imminent and would have been, the right idea for all parties. And then all of a sudden, he gets a chance in pre-season at the very end because Boro weren't able to sign another striker. And then we have the greatest redemption arc, I think, in the club's modern history, with a player who was barely fancied by anybody, and suddenly he breaks Bernie Slaven's 30-year record, nets 29 goals, breaks a record for the most consecutive home games scored, and gets EFL Championship Player of the Season and the Golden Boot. It's remarkable what he's done, and I think Boro fans need to bear in mind, a season ago, I don't think Chuba would have ever foreseen a move to Ajax, and I don't think Boro would have ever foreseen them getting £12 million for him. I think we wouldn't even got half of this fee for him a year ago. So this is what you call cashing in at the right time, and there was no guarantee, in my opinion, Chuba would have replicated this had he signed a new deal. I think the club felt that might have been the case. We've only had 1 year of this from Chuba, so I don't see the problem here, and I think it's a great decision by the club. It's right for all parties. Obviously, there is a little bit of anxiety because Boro have lost all of their main goal threat now from last season, but for me, this was the right decision for all parties. And I wish Chuba all the best. I've got no sour grapes or anything for him. He's a genuine guy. I believe he would have loved to have stayed at the club, and if the terms were right, a contract would have been signed. As it happens, they weren't. And who can blame him for going to a club like Ajax? I think some fans still think we're in the late 90s where Boro can compete financially with big European clubs who are fighting in the Champions League, fighting in the Europe, finishing runners-up in one of Europe's big 5 leagues. We can't do that anymore. We have to be sustainable. We have to work within FFP, and we are a championship club. That's the situation we're in. So we've simply got to take the opportunity to cash in while it's there, like we did with Spence, like we did with Tav. And I think it's a great deal, and I wish Chuba all the best. I hope he absolutely smashes it in the Eredivisie. And I'm relieved it's over, but I'm very excited now to see what Boro do in the window, because now the budget's there to hopefully go and sign the players we need, and we know exactly what we're going to need and who we're going to need in what position now. There is just clarity. All the cloud of uncertainty is cleared, and Boro can now just get on with it. And I personally, as I'm sure the club do, wish Chuba the very, very best. So if you're a Boro fan, let me know your thoughts on the move in the comment section below. I assume you're just as sad as me that Chuba's leaving, but let me know your thoughts on the fee. Let me know your thoughts on the move to Ajax. Personally, I love Ajax, so I can't wait to see him rocking the Ajax jersey. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and who you may think Boro could replace him with, and what the future may hold for Chuba and Boro going forward. But other than that, do subscribe for much more Boro content. I do reviews of each game. I'm probably going to do a video talking of the incomings we've got. Obviously, a left back and striker are incoming, and hopefully a few more as well. And I will review the transfer window once it's done and dusted too. But other than that, a big thank you for watching, guys. Do leave me a comment below with your thoughts. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.